Okay, so the solar panels that you folks are getting are CIGS. It's an acronym for copper, indium, gallium diselenide. This is a thin film cell. So what that means is that the cell thicknesses, or the thicknesses that get applied to the substrate, are in the nanometer ranges. Thin films are typically below a micron in thickness. The center is thicker than that, but it's still a thin film solar cell. So this gets applied to a substrate, and you can use polyimide, stainless steel. I've even seen papers where they've used aluminum. The CIGS cell that you get is on a stainless substrate, and you can sort of take a look at that, and you can see it from the backside of your module. It's sort of shiny. So there's a series of thin films that get applied. Thin films can be applied in various fashions. Sputtering is sort of the preferred way to apply some of the metal layers that go down. They have to be fairly dense, and in order to get that density, sputtering is the best way to get there. So sputtering is a form of atomic billiards. You take a fairly large molecule gas, which generally is argon, and you rip an electron off of it, and then it's looking for electron. You have a negatively charged plate that we call a target, and that gas molecule hits that plate hard enough to release a molecule of that plate. All your semiconductor devices are done this way. All the silicon wafer is the substrate, and then different layers are applied to them, and sometimes they etch them off to make different circuits, that kind of thing. This is not as complicated because we're not trying to etch anything away. We're just putting several discrete layers down. So sputtering is one of the forms that's used for making CIGS. The other is evaporation. And evaporation is exactly what it sounds like. So you take a pot of metal and you heat it up enough to have it boil off. And in the case of copper, that is roughly 2,000 degrees C. So every source inside one of these systems is pretty hot. It's really hot to be able to boil copper. And so to get this copper, indium, gallium diselenide, it goes through several different processes. Some of them are wet chemistry, some of them are sputtering, some of them are evaporation. And you end up with a thin film cell that is lightweight, easy to apply because it's done roll to roll, and flexible because it's on a flexible substrate. As opposed to a silicon wafer, which is a very fragile substrate, right? So if you ever take a silicon cell and you try to bend it a little bit, it will just crack on you. And the advancements in silicon technology these days, and the reason that solar panels keep getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, is because they keep cutting that silicon wafer thinner and thinner and thinner. And the thinner you make it, the more susceptible it is to breaking, so the more automation you need to handle the cells. And they've gotten very good at all the Tabor stringers that have robots on there to be able to handle all these cells and connect them in series and make the solar panels that you commonly see on rooftops. Hi, my name is Wally Stoss. I'm one of the owners here at P3 Solar. We make lightweight, portable solar panels for the outdoor enthusiast as well as the outdoor professional. We sponsor Racing the Sun because we want to educate the adults of the future on the usefulness of solar, and running their solar go-kart today gets them into the idea of renewable energy.